Hey everyone, welcome to Metaphysical Mining. My name is Michelle DeVries. For this video, I'm going to present a brief introduction into metaphysics. I'm keeping this video short and simple because we can get buried in the weeds with this topic. In fact, the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy had this to say about metaphysics at the beginning of its presentation. It is not easy to say what metaphysics is, and the word metaphysics is notoriously hard to define. So I promise to do my best to make this topic a little less nebulous over a series of 3 videos. In part 1, I'll cover how metaphysics is categorized within the academic world. I'll discuss the etymology of the word, as well as how it's defined, and the 3 other disciplines that fall underneath this umbrella term. In the academic world, metaphysics is categorized in 2 ways. The first is as a religion. Religion is defined as human beings' relation to that which they regard as holy, sacred, absolute, spiritual, divine, or worthy of a special reverence. Religion is also commonly regarded as consisting of the way people deal with ultimate concerns about their lives and their fate after death. The second way that metaphysics is categorized by the academic world is as a philosophy. The word philosophy, from Greek by way of the Latin word philosophia, means love of wisdom. It is defined as the rational, abstract, and methodical consideration of reality as a whole or of fundamental dimensions of human existence and experience. Now, I've come to practice metaphysical science as a philosophy and a way of life because since about 2009, I've been striving towards gaining the personal wisdom necessary to address the difficult life questions in which metaphysics, religion, and philosophy tend to tackle. I will list those existential life questions when I cover the definition, but first, let's break down the etymology of the word. The etymology of the word metaphysics is the science of the inward and essential nature of things, the branch of speculation which deals with the first causes of things, and the last point, the works after the physics, comes from the treatise of Aristotle. From the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, you'll read that the first major work in the history of philosophy to bear the title Metaphysics was the treatise by Aristotle. But Aristotle himself did not use that title or even describe his field of study as metaphysics. The name was coined by the first century editor who assembled the treatise out of various smaller selections of Aristotle's works. The title Metaphysics, literally after the physics, was probably meant to warn students of Aristotle's philosophy that they should attempt metaphysics only after they had mastered the physical ones. The books about nature or the natural world, for change is the defining feature of the natural world. Metaphysics is about things that do not change. Again, I'm not going into the history of metaphysics. This is just a brief background into Aristotle and how the term metaphysics came about. Let's continue with the etymology and further separate the word metaphysics into its 2 parts, meta and physics. Now, meta is a word-forming element of Greek origin that means after, behind, among, between, changed, altered, higher, beyond, and that's just a few. There is much more if you do a quick search. The noun physics is a natural science. It is also the science of the principles operative in organic nature. Now, that last part, from Greek ta-phasika, literally the natural things, which is again the title of Aristotle's treatise on nature. Now let's look into the definitions. We'll first review the definition from the institute upon which I received my degree. Dr. Paul Leon Masters, the founder of the University of Metaphysics, describes metaphysics as the search for absolute reality. He also states that if you can answer the following questions, you can find your place in life. Those questions are, who am I? What am I? Where have I been? Where am I going? And what is the relationship of man, mind, and the universe? On the university's website, you will find that metaphysics acknowledges and respects the beauty in all of God's creations. It is religion without dogma. It does not explore religious beliefs and laws created by man, but rather it explores the immutable laws of nature set by the Creator, God, universal presence, in the creation of the universe. Metaphysics is a branch of philosophy that studies the ultimate nature of existence, reality, and experience without being bound to any one theological doctrine or dogma. It includes all religions but transcends them all. It is the study of ultimate cause in the universe. And finally, it is the only science capable of inquiring beyond physical and human science. Other definitions include the branch of philosophy that deals with the first principles of things, including abstract concepts such as being, knowing, substance, cause, identity, time, and space. Metaphysics is a part of philosophy which is concerned with understanding reality and developing theories about what exists and how we know that it exists. In modern philosophical terminology, metaphysics refers to the studies of what cannot be reached through objective studies of material reality. The branch of philosophy that deals with first principles and seeks to explain the nature of being or reality, which is ontology, and of the origin and structure of the universe, which is cosmology. And it is also closely associated with the study of the nature of knowledge, which is epistemology. A few excellent metaphysical questions, in addition to the existential ones listed earlier, are: what is consciousness and what is reality? To summarize, metaphysics is classified as a religion or a philosophy. It is also a science of the inward study of the nature of things in our reality, which pursues answers to existential life questions. Now let's go one step deeper and look into the various disciplines associated with metaphysics through the metaphysical umbrella. I am borrowing a business term originally called the marketing umbrella from my marketing background in an attempt to make the topic of metaphysics less abstract, because in my opinion, metaphysics is a category similar to marketing in that a lot of other fields of study or disciplines fall underneath it. In the beginning of this presentation, we determined that metaphysics is a branch of philosophy that studies the ultimate nature of existence, reality, and experience without being bound to any one theological doctrine or dogma. It is also concerned with the fundamental nature of reality and being that includes cosmology, ontology, and often epistemology. Now, metaphysics, cosmology, ontology, and epistemology are extremely pregnant topics, which each could be the topic of an entire YouTube channel all on their own. Since this is merely an introduction, I will only define these disciplines and then list some of the tapered disciplines that may follow under them. Cosmology is defined as a field of study that brings together the natural sciences, particularly astronomy and physics, in a joint effort to understand the physical universe as a unified whole. An example of a big question within cosmology is: how did the universe begin? Ontology is defined as a branch of metaphysics concerned with the nature and relations of being, a particular theory about the nature of being or the kinds of things that have existence. Ontology also deals with abstract entities. It was called first philosophy by Aristotle in Book 4 of his Metaphysics. The Latin term ontologia means the science of being. In short, ontology seeks to classify and explain entities. Two of the longest standing ontological questions are: is there a God, and what happens to us when we die? Epistemology is defined as the study or theory of the nature and grounds of knowledge, especially with reference to its limits and validity. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, epistemology is the philosophical study of the origin, of the nature, origin, and limits of human knowledge. The term is derived from the Greek episteme, which means knowledge, and logos, which means reason. And accordingly, the field is sometimes referred to as the theory of knowledge. Epistemology has a long history within Western philosophy, beginning with the ancient Greeks and continuing to the present. Along with metaphysics, logic, and ethics, it is one of the four main branches of philosophy, and nearly every great philosopher has contributed to it. And finally, a few epistemological questions would be: what is knowledge and how is knowledge acquired? Here is my best attempt at providing a snapshot of what the metaphysical umbrella looks like in regards to the disciplines of cosmology, ontology, and epistemology. The bullet points below each section are broad examples of topics that could fall under these disciplines. Of course, this is not a comprehensive list, but a good conversation starter. One could dedicate their entire life to studying metaphysical science and probably still be left wanting. But no matter how deep or how far you decide to dive into the history and or mysteries of metaphysics, I wish you all the best in your pursuit of those tried and true existential questions which shape this discipline. I guarantee that if you dedicate a set amount of time each week to exploring who you are, what you are, where you've been, where you're going, and what's your relationship to man, mind, and the universe, you will elevate your intuition to a level that will allow you to push past the trap of magical glamour set up by this reality. You could discover and reconnect with some hidden ancestral gifts and talents waiting to burst forth and bubble up from within your blood and bones. Thanks for listening, and remember to subscribe to receive notice of new content. Parts 2 and 3 will be available soon. I'll see you then.